To session 2 of today, Friday, 18th of November, is from the Global Innovation Hub, and today we have a fantastic round of sessions. So we are moving to the second session of today, and it's a pleasure for us to introduce Miro from GloCha. He's a good friend of the Hub. He's been with us in many instances before at the launching last year at the launching of the Global Innovation Hub and bringing the climate action transformative approaches, but connecting with the youth community. So we are very happy to have them, Miro and the group here. Today we will be looking at digital innovation, resource mobilizations for youth, action empowerment, also looking at transformative climate actions. So Miro, it's a pleasure to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Thank you very much, Global Innovation Hub team, for having us here. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. That's really my most beloved place at the COP, next to our digital innovation and digital art for climate pavilion that is just across the aisle here. So we are talking today about digital innovation for youth climate action empowerment. And we have 3 more speakers who are on their way. We have a very beautiful global coverage of youth voices, but they are, as I said, on their way. So I will start briefly with an introduction of what my organization is doing. IAAI, it stands for International Association for the Advancement of Innovative Approaches to Global Challenges. It's a civil society organization based in Klagenfurt in Austria, and we are looking on how can we empower everyone everywhere to take action for climate in a meaningful and rewarding manner. And we have there also a focus on resource mobilization, because we believe that the lack of financial resources for those young people who take action for the climate or who would love to take climate action, that this is not, the youth don't have the resources, is a systemic failure which we have to fix. And we have wonderful technologies, blockchain technologies, and new concepts which will help to overcome this failure. And one of the initiatives that will be presented is also digital art for climate. And we are doing our work together with the Climate Chain Coalition, which is a network of 360 organizations which look how to use blockchain technology for climate action empowerment. And this organization has been co-founded by the UN Climate Change Secretariat, Masamba Tioye, the coordinator, the head of the Global Innovation Hub here, was the co-chair of our organization for 5 years. He stepped down recently because there are too many other obligations, but it's really the leading network in blockchain for climate. So what is the challenge? How can we translate global goals, Paris Agreement, SDGs into local action and impact with the power of youth? And the key word, key concept here is innovation. And innovation on several levels: new thinking, cultural innovation, social innovation, public sector innovation, and digital innovation, which is the focus today. And we work on these kind of solutions closely aligned with the UNFCCC process. In the UNFCCC process, there is the Action for Climate Empowerment program, which has the task to get non-party stakeholders, the whole society, 99.99% of the world's population, to get them their awareness raised, educated, building the vocational skills, having public participation, access to information, and global cooperation on these matters. And here, Austrian Ministry for Climate Action, Environment, Energy, Mobility, Innovation and Technology has invested strongly in rethinking this program. How can we deliver better, that we reach the youth, that we reach the citizens on the street? And my organization has been an associated partner, and we had there the focus on resource mobilization. And the solutions that we came up were, on the one hand, digital art for climate. And for us, the inspiration was that last year in March, an initiative in California which had 7 artworks turned into NFTs. That they were auctioned and they raised 6.6 million US dollar. And so we said, okay, if people are ready to pay for this kind of asset, digital asset, then let's build the mechanisms in a systemic manner that we will then be able to mobilize funding for youth and for action for climate empowerment in general. And the second instrument that we have developed is voluntary carbon footprint compensation crypto stamp solution. And for instance, in Austria, the post authorities, they have been leaders in creating crypto stamps. They have issued 100,000 crypto stamps early June last year. Each one of them cost 9.9 euros. And within the first day, they were sold. So 1 million euros they raised with a product that is interesting why people do this, but they do it. And so we said, let's set up a program where we create beautiful digital art for climate-based crypto stamps, which are individual carbon footprint compensation crypto stamps. And then let's give the people who want to lead a climate-neutral lifestyle the opportunity that they can invest in the compensation of their carbon footprint. And with the NFT, which is a key, they can then channel the money into the projects that they think are worthwhile. They can support their local community, they can support the youth all over the world or other thematic communities. So digital art for climate, again, is a multi-stakeholder partnership, turning artwork into digital assets, and then creating a marketplace to support action for climate empowerment and SDGs implementation. We have our own marketplace on the Unique Network NFT platform. It's one of the most environmentally sound blockchains. One transaction causes only CO2 emissions of in the range of micrograms, so 1 million times lower than what Ethereum used to cause before they emerged. And just this week, on Monday, we have presented a new program in this context where we have enabled people that they can buy NFTs, digital art for climate, ACE supporter badges with credit card payment. So there's now no need anymore to have the knowledge about cryptocurrencies going through KYC, because these are small amounts and people can really, in, let's say, a minute, buy their first NFT. And through this, we bridge the crypto world with the climate action world, and we are convinced that this has great potentials, especially also for this individual carbon footprint compensation crypto stamps. In terms of how can we turn an NFT into an impact NFT, how can we track the use of the money, connect with the projects that are financed, the impact that is generated. We are setting up a Global Challenges Action Registry, where you have the information about the artwork contribution, the information about the purchase, the information about the projects and outcomes in separate entries, which have relational information between them. And so at the end, an artist can attribute a certain outcome to the contribution of the artwork. And this is the new thing. Before, people could only guess that they have done something good, but with this kind of Global Challenges Action Registry, people will be able to get really verified and certified their contributions. And it's also relevant for the programs that Michael will later say about educational programs, educational accomplishments and things like this. For the management of the resources, we are setting up a United Citizens Organization, DAO. Its blockchain offers new possibilities to engage everyone in decision-making of resource uses, and a very important element also of the systemic solution that we're working on is a Global Challenges Action ID, because we need to know who is doing what so that we can then reward people to for what they're doing, and we have there some ideas around how we could base this Global Challenges Action ID on individual combination of the SDGs based on the priorities, and from this heptadecimal code we create an NFT, and this is then the basis for the digital identity, which can then be also combined with digital identities of organizations. So the idea is that in the end, every global citizen, especially every young person, will have on their mobile device an individual climate action dashboard app, which will be a digital badges collection game, so to say, but also the basis for microclimate entrepreneurship. So even the smallest action, properly documented, digital measurement, reporting and verification, social proof, and this kind of things, will be, it will be possible to put it in the registry and then getting it verified and certified, and then people can download the badge, the NFT, and build a lifelong legacy of what they have done for the global community. A big milestone for us is that we've had this year our own pavilion, the Digital Innovation and Digital Art for Climate Pavilion, and we have now many partners aligned. So in Dubai next year, we think we'll be at least 3 times bigger. And the next steps are also, we have now a wonderful conversation here with the UAE Ministry of Education. They said they love digital art for climate. They want us that we bring it to the schools and to the emerging artists in the UAE, and that this artwork will then also be showcased at the UAE pavilion next year. So with the Climate Change Coalition, we are working on a lab, a group of members who want to work with us on building the data and digital innovation infrastructure for youth and citizens climate action empowerment. The UNFCCC has now a call for partnerships for the promotion of climate action on the individual and organizational level. With this lab, we are working on a proposal to the Climate Change Secretariat so that we will be the key leader and convener of solution providers in this field. And then we will develop this further in the context of the individual climate action dashboard app in the context of EU programs, the EU mission 2030 cities. There are 112 cities who said they want to become climate neutral by 2030. One of them is my home city, Klagenfurt, and we will find those cities who want to have these tools developed for their citizens. We will have a Youth Climate Action Empowerment Festival in June 2023, and an event and exhibit at the UN headquarters in New York in September next year. We've had this already this year, and it was very successful. And then we will have another pavilion, of course, next year in Dubai, and join us as we empower youth to be our transformative agents of change. And with this, I give the floor to Michael to present ClimateScience, which is really a very interesting and successful and inspiring initiative in the field of digital innovation for youth climate action empowerment. And I invite also Alex to join us. Alex from YouthinkCenter, China, and Felipe also from Latin America. And there will be also somebody from Uganda. Oh, here you are, please. Please. Yeah, perfect. So let's start with Michael.
Does this work? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Miro, for the introduction and the scene setting. Youth empowerment is a vital step in solving climate change. But before empowerment, we need to be ready to have the agency to start doing and implementing solutions in the first place. Before empowerment, we need enabling. And I'll go to explain a little bit to what this means and how climate science is doing that. The very fundamental thing, what we have currently in our society, is that we live in a world of miracles. We have technological solutions that no one could have imagined 20 years ago. And NFTs and crypto, at least from my point of view, have become mainstream only in the past few years. The world is changing very, very quickly, and we aren't changing at the same pace. UNESCO just came up and launched a report in this COP. The generation that is supposed to know about climate change doesn't know anything. 70% of young people cannot explain what climate change is or don't know anything about it. Why is this happening? Well, the answer is very simple, and the solution is not as simple. The answer is that we have managed to hide all of the solutions, all of the science behind long, scientific, boring reports. Which is why we live in a world where most people think that climate change is caused by plastic. We cannot solve climate change in a world where people think it's caused by plastic. We need a world where most people understand that 1, climate change is real, 2, climate change is a systemic problem, 3, climate change is a complex problem, 4, everyone can have a part in solving climate change. People need to understand what to mitigate, where to adapt. They need to understand the solutions to climate change. So how do we do that? We make the science behind climate change accessible for all. And how is that done? By not assuming a degree worth of knowledge from every person in the world, by making climate change information engaging, visual, fun, and then by scaling it through digital means. Because the governments, although they are a key factor in solving climate change, it will take a long time to get climate education to all of those curricula. Digital resources like climate change know no borders. Everyone can access them. Well, we do have a problem with internet accessibility, which is one of the greatest injustices in the world. But most of the people in the world already have access to a phone and an internet. Why not focus on them? Why not mobilize all of them to become ecopreneurs, to become climate solutionists, and in general, develop and evolve our climate movement from focusing from climate doomism and on the problem to actually implementing solutions. We need a world where when people hear the word climate activist, they would think of engineers. So, ClimateScience started about 3 years ago. We started as an Instagram account, and I, back then, wasn't a part of it yet. I was leading and I co-founded the Israeli climate strike movement. And then after I stumbled across the page, I decided that, wow, I learned so much. Back when I started, I didn't know anything. I just knew it's bad, right? And I was like, this is so transformative. I want to do everything in my power to make this go huge because the world needs this. We have all the solutions. We don't have the people to implement it. So we started as an Instagram page, 2 months, 40,000 followers. There clearly was a demand. We created the world's most advanced set of climate courses that I am happy to report are currently used by millions of people in 190 countries. We went to schools with it, and they said, we love this. Teachers said, finally we understand what climate change is. Finally we understand what to do. But we can't implement this because it doesn't fit our curriculum. So we created curriculum-aligned resources for teachers. We created kids' books. We created YouTube animated videos. We created competitions. And last year, we managed to gather digitally 55,000 people from around the world, young people, that came out with their solutions to climate change, and they presented them to government negotiators here. We don't have to wait up for COP to catch up with the political will necessary to solve climate change. We can do it ourselves. We can implement the solutions that we have now. We can innovate our way out of the problems that currently still exist. And most importantly, we need to enable the full human potential to solve climate change, because we haven't. Everyone likes to say that climate change is the world's greatest team challenge, and yet we have had an extraordinarily small team. We need to include everyone in the journey to solve climate change, and only by then, not only that we will be able to solve climate change, but also we'll be able to create a world much better than the current one we have today and the one that we have inherited. A world with more opportunity and less suffering.
Wonderful, Michael. I really love the work you are doing. It's so transformative, so important, and also so dynamic. You are really on the growth path. And now to our friend, I have to say that I have difficulties remembering the name, Busingye Nurudin from Smart Youth Network from Uganda, doing wonderful work on the African continent as is the African COP. We are proud and honored to have you with us.
Yes, thank you so much for this invitation. My name is Busingye Nurudin. I come from Uganda in East Africa. I work as a team leader for a youth-led network organization called Smart Youth Network Initiative. I did computer science in 2019. We had only 3 girls in our class, and the rest of 35 were boys. So I had attended something to do with women empowerment, and was like, no, what can we do to make sure that we mobilize girls to really come to our class? So that's why we came up with Smart Youth Network Initiative. Moving forward, I was supposed to be here in the first week, but I got money in the second week to buy a ticket and come here. So I've been advocating for digitalization for climate change. We came up with an online marketplace called Merchandise Uganda, where SMEs, farmers put their products to access market. Before that, we had very many people put their products on trucks and then go to cities to look for markets. In a way that they emit a lot of gases. So we put up this online marketplace using the power of technology and digitalization to make sure that we help them to not move to the market, all of them at once. So one truck can have their products and then they sell their products online. But then I've really been doing this work of digitalization for climate change, and our governments in Africa seems to not understand the power with digitalization and technology. So I am really happy to be here to witness this, that it works. We have very many young people who do art, who do music, who do fashion, and they can use this to impact their societies if they sell as the NFTs on the marketplace that you have. And technology has a lot of power. Where I come from, very many people do not have jobs. But with the technology that we're coming up, we can use it to leverage for young people to get jobs, but also to document what they are doing. Very many are doing amazing work, but it's not documented, and yet they have access to phones, they have access to internet. So with digitalization, we can be able to map out who has planted a tree, and then how can we make sure that they benefit from the trading carbons and all those things. But also, it will help us to make sure that young people participate. I'm here. This thing is live on YouTube. So with technology and digitalization, we shall really make sure that all young people participate in taking actions. Yeah, thank you so much.
Wonderful, Busingye. It's really so important that we, as society, create the enabling ecosystem for young people who want to take action, who have entrepreneurial energy and new ideas, but to really connect them with the global goals implementation system, there are certain elements, data, digital innovation, access, knowledge, and financial resources, of course. And for this, we have to work here. We have to really be aware that nobody else is going to do this. And the young people cannot do it themselves alone. So global society has to pay attention and channel resources into this. And we have presented in the introduction some pathways how this could be done. And in terms of pathways and journey, one of our friends and partners that is on our journey already for 10 years is Alex Zekai Wang from YouthinkCenter, China, and we are happy to have you here with us today.
Thanks very much, Miro. We actually did, I think, 2 parts of work quite related to what Miro did globally. Number one is that in YouthinkCenter, we have a program called Youth for Climate, which we work with UN, and also World Bank to create this kind of platform to enable young people to learn, advocate, take actions, or climate actions. I'm thinking is that probably the model of the youth program are similar. Is that we provide learning courses and people get to learn online and they mobilize young people around them and then they start some small actions around the community. So far we cover 1,200 universities in China, and every year we select the best young leader to join the COP as well, who provide scholarship and others. The second thing what I'm doing now is that I'm working with 2006 Nobel Peace Laureate Professor Yunus and also China Council for International Investment to create our Net Zero Investment Alliance, which is we bring all the investors and also technology providers from China that on one hand they have different solutions. On the other hand, there's some investors who want to invest on some carbon neutral pilot projects. For example, like in China, there's some development zone or some new town. They want to say, in this zone, we want to achieve carbon neutral. How can we do that? What we do is that we have the digital tools to calculate the carbon emission they have. And then we will have the energy transition plan, which is that how we provide 100% clean energy for the zone there. And then we can calculate how much carbon emission reduction they have. So through this way, there is an online platform we can monitor that through all these different approaches, how this development zone or the city can achieve carbon neutral. And for this kind of approach, we need to bring different technology partners. We also need to develop. We also need to bring energy companies who will do the BOT model, like build, operate, transfer, and will get the payment after they invest. So this is something we are working on, and maybe that in the near future we will learn from Miro that how we can link all this kind of work with technology of blockchain and AIoT and also NFT together. How can we really provide incentives for the citizens and young people to join? And is that for they can create the movement together, but at the same time they can get some fun and incentives. That's it. Thanks very much, Miro.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alex. And it's really surprising how much is going on also in China in this field. You have invited me on the 7th of November to an event at the China Pavilion about public participation in climate action, and they were with Greenpeace China, and there are really very ambitious initiatives, great tools and platforms, so we can learn from one another. Although it's a different system, but the impact, the CO2 emissions, CO2 concentrations are the same. So we have to find the mechanisms and the frameworks in which our tools and the data exchanges will be interoperable, and everything leading towards global goals implementation with local action. And young people are certainly also pathfinders for their local communities, and really local level is very important. And with this, to Felipe from Colombia, you are leading a student network in the field of technology for SDGs and climate. Please tell us about your work.
Okay, hello everyone, my name is Felipe Gomez Gallo. I'm from Colombia, and I'm the leader of the Student Platform for Engineering Education Development, where we work in the intersection between engineering and other incidence platforms, for example, environment, climate action, education, mental health, peace, inclusivity, etc., etc. And before starting talking about speed, I just want to raise the many issues that we need to face in order to be able to attend spaces like this, and the many barriers that we find in order to raise the voices that are needed to be heard in spaces like COP27. I was so close to not coming to COP because I didn't have the resources. I had to advocate for the badge through my government in order to be able to have a party overflow, but I didn't have the money. So it took me like 1 week to raise as much money as I could in order to be in Sharm el-Sheikh and be able to talk to you about speed and our climate action that we are doing globally. Speed, so what we do during the year, we created an event that is called the Global Student Forum, where we gather students from around the globe, where we collaboratively come up with projects in order to create climate action projects and in order to tackle the SDGs as a whole. We started in 2015, just when the SDGs came, and we started doing design thinking workshops for students around the globe to create solutions targeted to solve the climate crisis. Currently, we have an event in the next week in South Africa. It's called the World Engineering Education Forum, and we will gather some 70 students from around the Africa region to create more projects in order to solve the climate challenges that we are facing today. So yeah, this is a call for all of you to start engaging more with NGOs, with grassroots organizations in order to mobilize and raise the voices of people that cannot be here. Thank you, Dr. Mira.
Thank you very much, Felipe. Yeah, and I'm optimistic that with our individual carbon footprint compensation, crypto stamps, digital badges, ACE supporter badges, that we will be able on a large scale to mobilize resources which we will then be able to channel towards youth climate action empowerment, youth participation. That's certainly needed. And talking of participation, I'm quite sure 90% of you have observed that we are all male here, so it's a shame. I'm totally against this, but I've invited 3 female experts also in this field. They were not available. So I would very much appreciate if in the first round of the discussion I could have a contribution from our female participants here to save my reputation, otherwise people will think that I'm stupid. Would somebody like to say something? Please, one.
Thank you. Actually, my name is Verena Böhme. I'm from Germany, but I live in Argentina for the last 14 years, and we started an NGO called Manos Verdes, working together with environmental awareness building in schools, workshops, recycling. That's what the beginning is, and now we're working on the climate change topics and also on the reforest project. So actually we saw a lot of these, I think the tools for gaming and the digital arts is really, it's really crucial to include for the young people to motivate. And I was really, when you say like 70% of the young people do not even know about climate change and have no idea, how do we get the gap to interest them for the topic? Because it's wonderful to have these tools, but if you're not even interested in climate change, how do you get to use those tools? That was the question.
Thank you very much appreciated. Please.
Great question. I'm happy to share the experience that we've gone through. So, in terms of, there's a couple of things to this. So, first thing is, how do we get people interested in general, right? The simple answer, and where it essentially boils down to, is that people are interested in stuff that's worth being interested for. It has to provide value, it has to be important, right? Then we ask ourselves, is climate change important? Yes. Then we ask ourselves, well, how do we get people to know about it? And there's this notion that I learned very early on in starting to lead movements in civil society for climate change. And the lesson was, people need drastic examples to be shaken out of apathy. The world is a noisy place. Everyone tries to catch your attention. You need to shake people a little bit for them to wake up. But when the person is woken up, if you continue shaking the person turns bitter. There's a point where enough shaking, now it's time to actually start doing stuff to follow through. And here, there's two different types of people. And this is the way also that we divide our target audience in climate science. We don't divide by age, because age doesn't really matter. We had, again, the competition, 55,000 young people came up with solutions. Next year we're going to have 250,000 young people. From the 5 finalists, 3 of them, so the majority, were under the age of 20, and 2 of them were 14 and 15. And this is the best people out of 55,000 people, right? So age doesn't matter, but what does matter is motivation. Psychological motivations. And there are 2 predominant ones. One is after people get, they wake up, there's 2 predominant psychological motivations. The first one is people who are interested to learn more, which are people who don't have any thought of having a climate career. They don't really care. They heard about it. They want to know more. Similarly to, let's say COVID happened and you want to learn what's COVID, right? Something happens, you want more information. The second motivation is people who are motivated to learn more about climate change. These are people who are climate anxious. These are people who care about the environment, like animals, or want a climate career or see opportunity, right? So for people who are interested to learn more, we need to provide information that's easily digestible and gives an overview, doesn't go into details, gives an overview on the problems that you want to solve. So let's take an advanced problem, carbon removal, right?
Okay. I would have to, if you don't mind, I would like to bring in Emmanuel Obeng from Ghana, ACE focal point, because he has to leave.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, thank you very much, Myros, for this opportunity. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Tichiobi. I'm ACE focal point in Ghana, and Myros has been one we've been working with over the years, and I'm happy that I'm here to also share something so far as Ghana is concerned. For this program, digitalization and innovations is the way the youth will really go when it comes to the situation now, because currently internet and phones are very common, and youths can even stay in their room and create awareness. Because if you look at climate change in Africa, one of the problems we are facing is people doesn't even understand what is really happening on the ground. Though their farms, their houses, their livelihood are taken away, but they still don't come so closely to improve their understanding on climate change. So if we are really going to climate change, then we need to improve the understanding of our people on climate change. And the youths need to do this. So in Ghana, what we did first is to integrate climate change into school curricula. We've done that with climate change to primary school, junior high, and senior high. We've developed teaching and learning material. So we are working straight with the Ghana Education Service in doing all these things. We believe that if we improve the knowledge of the children or the youths, then it will stay with them forever. and they will be the future solution, and the problems will be solved very, very easily. Another thing that we are doing also is with the civil society. We now working strongly with the civil society. We are doing Climate Change Week, which we push it in March. And in March, you hear from us. We are doing a big Climate Change Week where all the week we'll be doing procession, daybells and everything, just to improve the understanding of climate change across the country, among other things. So I'm very happy to be with you, and then also to see Myros again. Bye for now.
Much, Emmanuel. It's so important that we have this cooperation between the public authorities and initiatives, this initiative that are innovative and powerful, but together is the formula for success. And in terms of together, thank you very much, Emmanuel. We will not keep more of your time. But we have Masamba Tioye today with us, who is here the host, the big boss on innovation in the climate conference. Please, your thoughts.
No, I'm not sure I'm the big boss, but I just would like to contribute to this debate, which is important. We are very pleased to host this interaction, this dialogue that are really important and should be further empowered, particularly when it comes to innovation, because we know that they are extremely innovative and can come with a lot of ideas. But the only point I wanted to make is that we have a problem of narrative. So the way we are presenting things when it comes to developed countries is not necessarily the way we should present things when we are engaging developing countries. So in developing countries, most of the case, you do not have a lot of emission. If you take countries in Africa or in Latin America, the level of emission is very low. So if you are talking about decarbonization and emission reduction, people will not understand what we are talking about because they are not emitting. So the right narrative is clean development. While in the north, it's about decarbonizing and reducing emission. In the global south, the focus should be put in clean development and emission avoidance. If you tell people from the global south what we want is to support your clean development, we would like to support your access to nutrition and health, to shelter, to clothing, to leisure, but we want to do it in a way that is aligned with the 1.5 degree goal and the other SDGs, then they will understand what we are talking about.
Yes, wonderful. Yes, that's certainly the way to go. It's a framing and narrative. We need also transformative, positive stories. And there's also, I would not agree totally that we have to frighten them. That's one way to do it, but it's also, I'm convinced that the power of music is also very good. We have the digital art for climate. This year it was visual art. 10 years ago we have done it for the UN UN Conference on Sustainable Development, the Global Youth Music Contest, and we've seen that people resonate so much with music, and it's such an important element of young people to hear music. And in the next edition of the competition we will have a music award as well, Music for Climate Award. And perhaps briefly, Sol, if you would like to say a few words how you see the potentials of music combined with digital innovation for youth empowerment. Please, you can take the floor here, the seat here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Miroslav. Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here at COP27. Yes, music, I believe, is a language that crosses bridges and boundaries. You don't even need to necessarily understand the words of a song, but you can feel the vibrations. The truth is we are all actually made of water, like Earth, 75% approximately, and water responds to the vibrations of sound. It's, I believe there's a lot more to discover and research about the power of music. And I notice in spaces like these, even when we have, very serious conversations and panels, once in a while you walk past the pavilion or in the hallway there might be some sort of activity or action, that involves music and rhythm. Sometimes the indigenous bring their instruments and you hear a beat, like our heartbeat, and suddenly something changes. A lot of people seem to pause, notice, stop, listen, look. So in terms of what we're doing and raising awareness, I believe that music can be a key component of creating massive global awareness and helping people to kind of understand where they can go to find options of actions they can take, for example, or alternative solutions that exist, alternative materials they might be able to use, etc. So it can be a tool to create awareness and also get messages powerfully comprehended by people. Music has the melody to it that has its own effect, and then when you learn the lyrics of a song, sometimes you don't even understand the whole story, but upon repetition, it becomes familiar, close to your heart, and then can go really deep in the subconscious, and then continue to echo and reverberate as that music and the lyrics and the messaging of whatever that song might be or mean to you can actually last a lifetime and actually bridge generations and nations worldwide. So that's just a taste. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sol. This is so beautiful. Yeah, I 100% am convinced that music and art, this is part of the solution. It's part of the movement building. We need everyone engaged, and young people are the pathfinders for us, and they can communicate their visions of alternative futures, positive futures with the language of art and music. And would something or comment, ask something? Please.
I want to come back to the latest topic about the transformative solutions. So I want to say something also related with gender. So for example, in the Global South, in Africa and Latin America, women has to work in the rural development. So if we want to women understand why is important climate change, or why it's important to understand what is climate change, we need to change the narrative to say, okay, the way that we are using technology, or the way that we are producing, or the way that we are using soil, it produces a lot of challenges in health, a lot of challenges in education. So it's a different way to understand or to tackle the problem. So for example, we had an event with my organization on Wednesday that we tried to highlight 4 case studies in Africa and in Colombia related with technology and innovation, but we also using like ancestral knowledge. So technology doesn't mean only software and hardware, like really complicated, but it's also to use like all these ancestral and local practices that are really useful, because we also have to understand that it's not the same necessities that the global north has related with climate change, and because most of the technologies are developed or are created with the mindset of the global north. So we need to understand that we can create technology, or we can innovate with a global south approach, or also with a gender approach, of course.
Thank you very much. Very important points that you added to the discussion, our understanding. And we have Domenico Vito from Milan, who is also at the COP, but now somewhere else. Please join us with some perspectives from where you are.
Some commitment, and I will join the venue a little bit later, but I'm glad to participate to this event, because it's important, I think, to involve youth in climate action. Youth are like the citizens of tomorrow, and for that it's important that their action, their creativity, their idea need to be listened and need to be also helped to be implemented. And on that, the Digital Art for Climate platform and all the work that Miron and all the team is doing is in the direction of support the youth climate action, because that's what is needed now. This is the COP of implementation. This is the COP of making action. And it's important that also the youth action, not also only the big governments and so on, but the grassroots youth that are making wonderful things. Actually, I'm managing a platform that we call knowledge sharing platform that's called Hubs in Italia, and we are partner of the Digital Art for Climate. And we are making initiative in order to let know about the digital art, but also to collect the different experiences that around the world are making amazing things. And such events like today demonstrate that there are great potential in the role of youth in climate action. So thank you for letting me to intervene, and I hope that we will continue the discussion and we will continue to engage youths and their ideas into the implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Domenico. And it's important also our cooperation and the work that Domenico is doing in terms of localization, because here we are talking about global solution, but how does it translate down on the local level? And here Domenico has a great partnership with the Digital Culture Center in Milan, MEET. We are going with the next edition to have local components to the competition, and then also an exhibit which combines global winners and local winners. And resource mobilization will then also go into support for local projects, in addition to the global initiatives that will be supported. And this kind of model is what we need, I think. So, because it's good to have great global initiatives, but it needs to be something that the people in the city with their cultural institutions or public institutions can take up, replicate, that the legal and tax and everything, all these dimensions are sorted out already for them, and that then there can be hundreds or thousands of such locations where this model is replicated and where people get inspiration and entry points to this global fight against the climate crisis in a meaningful and rewarding manner. And I would like to bring in Tim, who is our favorite youth climate action empowerer. Please, 2 minutes and then we will conclude. As you have understanding, the systemic understanding of what is needed, the youth perspective and the resource mobilization and everything else.
All right, that's a lot for 2 minutes, but thank you, Miro. Very happy to jump in here quickly. You know, we've just concluded the ACE negotiations, which happened here on the action plan to guide the work on this for the next 4 years. And one of the things that we saw was really lacking was the mobilization of finance and other resources to actually do this work of empowering communities, empowering all of the stakeholders from civil society. But we're not going to let that stop us. As we've been discussing here with Miroslav and Sol and many of us, you know, we're going to continue to drive the leadership. The young people had already been bringing solutions to the table which didn't get adopted by governments yet, such as an ACE marketplace. So really creating the governance structures, the innovations, linking up with all the digital tools that can help to support this initiative to make sure that we actually are connecting the financial resources with the communities, with the young people, where it needs to go, because this is supposed to be about implementation. We're long overdue on that front, and it's really up to us to keep pushing, and the governments will eventually catch up. And when they get to their next point in the process 4 years from now and they're reviewing, how are we doing with the work program? Should we have another 4-year short-term action plan? We'll have already done that, and it will then be for them to integrate into that and to support it, so that, you know, the top down and the bottom up are both aligned. But young people are already driving the solution. They're already implementing. They're creating apps. They are creating solutions, policies, movements, and they're doing it mostly voluntarily. So we really do need to call on everyone in a position to do so from the negotiation language to continue to support these young people and help them to engage and participate and drive these solutions. It's up to us. It's in our hands. We're the coalition that's doing it, and join in and be part of that.
Bravo. And I would just like to highlight in the context of innovation and youth, that Tim is a party delegate of Fiji, and Felipe is with Colombia. And this is a synergistic solution, and the congratulations to those countries who are doing this, because this brings in new ideas, a lot of expertise, and it's reducing the burden on the budget and everything for the countries. And this kind of solutions are important and very welcome, and it's good to recognize them and appreciate them here. So I think, Masamba, would you like to have a concluding statement? It's always a pleasure listening to your thoughts and visions.
Thank you. Thank you again. I just would like to reiterate the interest for the Global Innovation Hub to be a hub for use, because we believe that this is communities that we need to work with because of your energy, because your capability to contribute to innovation. The Global Innovation Hub is an initiative mainly focusing on how innovation can be best used to serve people and the planet. And I know that this is something that talks to you, because people use generally can be mobilized if you have the right focus. If it is about supporting people, if it is about doing something for their future, the planet, they can be mobilized. And this is precisely what we are trying to do. So you are most welcome to be with us. And this Global Innovation Hub is a movement. We want it to be a broad movement. So we expect to have more and more youth joining this movement. And hopefully at COP28, you will have even a broader space in this Global Innovation Hub to share your ideas, to share your perspective. So thank you for your participation. And we are looking forward to strengthening collaboration with the youth. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Masamba. Thanks for your hospitality, for the invitation to the youth, to our organization, GloCha also, and thanks, Carlos, for the support, Sylvia, and the tech team for the great work. Thanks, our panelists, Busingye, Felipe, Michael, Alex, Sol, Moran, Broza. See you again somewhere in the virtual space or next year in Dubai.